On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, I'll have the shallow water Mark out of Key Largo in the Florida Keys. I'll be teaming up with Chris Hanson and doing some light tackle fishing on the oceanside patch reefs as well as the backcountry. It's a variety fishing show at its finest. Stay tuned.
Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing, celebrating 20 years of fishing television excellence. Big fish don't stand a chance.
Key Largo sits at the top of the Florida Keys chain, and it offers an abundant supply of fishing opportunities from offshore, reef, backcountry fishing. The fishing here can be spectacular. And on this particular trip, I brought down the shallow water Mark, which is a Mako 21 light tackle skiff, and I was teaming up once again with Captain Chris Hanson, who is a light tackle, shallow water ace based out of Key Largo. Our goal on this particular trip, fish the oceanside patch reefs in waters less than 25 feet. Then on day 2, we would venture into the backcountry to try for snook, redfish, and whatever else would eat our baits. So I told Chris, let's go ahead and use your formula. Let's go out, keep the rods bending, and I want to see firsthand exactly what it is that you do to attract so many charter clientele.
Wintertime down there on the patches, we get African pompanos, we get a lot more mackerel, we get bluefish that show up, hogfish, porgies, snappers, groupers, but pretty much year round you can catch any of those fish.
First stop along the way was to make bait, because that would be crucial.
We stopped by one of my nearby bait spots and chummed them up, catch some live bait.
It's amazing to see someone throw a cast net and open it up as well as Chris does. It's really an art, and he makes one incredibly good throw. That net opens up, and you could just see as the net hits the water, the flashing of all the pilchards being caught up in that net. And really, one shot of that net, and you knew you had all the bait we were going to need for that particular day.
We brought live shrimp on this trip because everything on the ocean side and the bay side will eat live shrimp.
And from there, we headed out to the oceanside patch reefs. And as we were running on the ocean side, headed out to our first patch reef, it just appeared that the weather was especially ordered for us by the Florida Keys Department of Tourism. There was not a breath of wind. It was like a bathtub out here. And just when you think that this type of fishing could not get any simpler in terms of labor, we got to an area in between a couple good-sized patches, pretty much a sandy stretch. Activated the motor guide, it did its job, it held us right in position, and from there we grab our light spin tackle, we take some shrimp, hook them up, make a cast out, let it hit bottom, and from that point, we just sit and wait, and you know what? The wait didn't take long.
Oh, I got one.
Double up.
Mine's real close to the boat.
Okay, I'm hanging out a little bit. You gonna go slide under me?
You here.
Oh, bonefish.
Little bonefish.
You said we'd be getting into those in this area, huh?
Yep. Well, these little bonefish out here in about 10, 12 feet of water.
Check that little one out, huh?
Come. Look at that little guy.
Beautiful fish, isn't it?
They are so
Just
streamlined.
another
They're
variety.
so strong. Let them go.
Look what I've got here. I've got another mutton. Look like here.
Yep, another mutton.
Mutton and a bonefish on that round.
Mutton and a bonefish.
And mutton snapper can be found anywhere from the wrecks, the deep reefs, the patch reefs. And we started getting into some smaller muttons, bringing them up, releasing them.
Bonefish, African pompano, Cero mackerel, Spanish mackerel, porgy, yellowtail snapper, yellow jack, red grouper, French grunt.
Muttons doubling up. I have one particular species, you'll have another. And the catches just continue. Either they're baiting the hooks, they're casting it out, you're maybe in 10, 15, maybe 20 feet of water. You feel the bumps and the pushes from those smaller fish hitting the bait, the rod goes down, you wind. There's really not that much downtime here. It's a lot of fun, a lot of light tackle, and you never know what you're gonna catch next.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin. Mako. You'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela. Your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine. Go boldly. George will be right back.
Patch reef fishing keeps the rods bending on a variety of species. I'm with Chris Hanson off Key Largo in the Florida Keys.
And naturally, we're using light tackle. I have 10-pound braid. I think Chris had 20-pound test braid. And there are certain big fish that come through there, and sometimes you hook fish that you can't stop, that they get the better of you, and they run you right inside the patches and either hole up or break you off. And I hooked something.
Coming up behind.
Oh, there we go.
I'm liking that a lot.
That's that unknown one, maybe.
I'll trade places. You want to come down? I'll get
I
him
got
back
another
here.
little-
Looks like I'm gonna need some real estate.
Yep, you got it.
What you got?
I got one of those big Maharas.
I see what you're saying. He's trying to get in that patch.
He wants to get in the patch. Come on, baby. I'm up and out of the water. Oh, come over this way, fishy.
It was a little bit of a surprise. I don't want to sit here and tell you that I wasn't really disappointed when I looked and I saw a stingray coming over.
Stingray.
Oh,
Big old
come
stingray.
on. Is that like insult to injury, Chris? Here I am thinking we got a group or something big, and what do we have? Scallops.
And we released a stingray, a good sized one at that. And as they say, you know, stingrays have to eat too. And unfortunately, it was just on my rod. Then the mackerel showed up.
Here I'm on. Oh, let go again. Got it that time. Oh, you see the size of that
Nice!
mackerel?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the sharks come up behind him now too. Whoa! He's right on.
Oh,
Check this out. Check this fish out. Look, incoming. Whoa!
look at the size of that. That's a nice Cero.
It is Cero mackerel on that.
George was, I mentioned to him he should probably throw that top water skitter walk out there and give it a shake or two around, and he ended up catching a nice Cero mackerel on it. That thing was exploding in the water. I think it jumped out of the water about 8 feet. It was pretty cool. Patch reef fishing is fun for anybody. You can take the whole family out. You can bring, you know, mom and dad and the 2 kids, and anybody can do it because you get different sized fish and it's constant, fast action.
You feeling like?
Feeling like Jack, I think. Jack Ravel, maybe. Let's see if I can walk him up this way. Come on, fishy.
See him yet?
I don't see him yet. Here he comes.
Give me a walk around the boat.
Looking like a AfricanPompano.
Look at that. You said we're gonna get one at this spot. How about that?
Look how pretty this fish is.
Beautiful. That is a prize. Just look how. Check that out.
Look at the streamers on him.
Nice spinnet streamers. Oh, that is such a beautiful fish. He said we'd get one of them. Oh, that's a picture fish there too.
So here we were about 1:30, may have been 2 in the afternoon, and we caught all these different species of fish. It was an absolutely sensational day, and it was early. And I looked at Chris, I said, you know what, we had an incredible day. Why don't we head back to the barn and regroup and get set and do the backcountry tomorrow? And he agreed to that, and it just goes to show you all the wide variety of species you have here. And it seems like those shallow Atlantic side patch reefs are often neglected, but you know what? That's great, because when you come out here, more times than not, you'll have them all to yourself.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is brought to you by SIMRAD. Go with SIMRAD and go with confidence. Rapala Coastal, another great day. Suffix, always use the best line. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. George will be right back.
The backcountry behind Key Largo in the Florida Keys also yields quite the variety of fish. Chris Hanson and I are looking to add to the number of species we've taken so far.
Day number 2, and you're just so excited about starting day number 2 because you had a fabulous day number 1. You jump aboard the shallow water mark. Here's Chris. We leave Sundowners, we go out, we make some bait, and then we head into the backcountry behind Key Largo in the Florida Keys. So we got the boat situated, started making some casts real tight to a mangrove point, and it didn't take long.
I'm trying to get him out of the bush.
He wants to come out too, you know.
Here he comes.
Okay.
Oh, baby Goliath.
Is that what you got?
Get him next to the boat here.
Hang on one second. Let me get a little release tool.
There we go. Dude, he hammered that bait in there.
What's that?
He hammered that bait.
He did too. Did you see him dig away in those mangroves?
Wanted to get back to his home.
Yeah, he did. All right. Works to fish out a juvenile Goliath grouper. Set that one free. Rebait, he goes back in, and don't you know it? It didn't take more than 15 seconds. He's on to his second Goliath grouper. Okay. Get him out of there.
Another Goliath.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, baby
Definitely.
Goliath.
Here I go. Mine's nervous now. He's going to get it. Get another one.
So we decide to leave the Goliath grouper spot and we run over to this other shoreline. And as we're running up in there, we see this just crab trap buoy just randomly sitting there. And George and I look at each other and we're going, there might be a triple tail here. So we slow the boat down and sure enough, George saw a triple tail, cast it over to him, and there's another species added to the list.
Ate it though, right?
I think he did.
Yeah, he ate it. There he is.
Is that a sailfish? I just got a tarpon.
Let me get the landing net.
Never ceases to get surprised here, huh? That thing got some serious air, didn't it?
I think we were just running up here to come to the spot. And
I saw that
we
dark
saw
shadow.
him as we started to slow down.
And you said there was a second one in there too, huh?
Yeah, on the other side of that buoy, I saw one.
I don't think he'd go that far.
That was a nice triple tail. I got the net.
I think I'm looking at dinner. We're about 30 feet away from dinner.
Yeah,
tonight.
I think you're right. He definitely meets that 18-inch requirement.
You think?
There he is.
Whoa. Check this triple tail out. This fish was going to come home. We released everything the first day in the Patch Reefs, but this triple tail, if we were fortunate enough to get it in the net, we would take it back to Sundowners and have them cook it up as an appetizer later that evening. Triple tail are sensational to eat. You couldn't make the trip any easier than by us staying at Ocean Point Suites. This is a favorite of mine when I come into Key Largo area because of its convenience. And once you come in here and you see the boats all neatly lined up, and you can tell without a doubt they like boaters and they like anglers. They even have their own ramp where you could launch a boat, and they have a marina which you could dock boats up to 28 feet in length, and the beauty there is right around the corner and you're in the Atlantic Ocean. The condos range from single to 2-bedroom units, beautifully appointed. Everything you can imagine is right here. Heated swimming pool, lighted tennis courts. You have it all here at Ocean Point Suites.
George's Tackle Locker brought to you by King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
There's a lot of pride in owning a boat, and owning a boat also comes with a lot of responsibility, mainly making sure you keep that boat in pristine condition. At the end of a fishing day, I thoroughly wash mine. First step, take a freshwater hose and wash all the salt off the entire boat. Then take a quality boat soap, give the boat a thorough wash down, outboard cowlings, everything that has come in contact with the salt, make sure it's completely rinsed. As far as a non-skid deck, take a quality non-skid deck cleaner and take care of that. After a thorough rinsing, Make sure that every part that needs lubricating is done. Also, open up the hatches, wash them out thoroughly, including the bilge. A freshwater rinse down is essential as well. By keeping a boat clean, you'll turn a lot of heads. But think about the long run when it comes time to sell that boat and step up. By having a clean boat that runs exceptionally well, you'll get top dollar for your investment.
Mercury Performance Stats, Key Largo, Florida Keys. Seas, calm. Power, Mercury's new V8 4-stroke. Prop, Mercury Tempest 17-inch pitch. Average RPMs, 4,800. Speed, 43 miles per hour. Total miles, 68. Total fuel burned, 22 gallons. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is brought to you by Starbright, professional-grade boat care products. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum, never a spectator. King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
I'm with Chris Hanson off Key Largo in the Florida Keys, and the number of species we're catching just keeps on growing.
So I look in the live well and I see this big giant pinfish in the live well. So I put the pinfish on and I'm like, well, go big or go home. So we take the pinfish and throw him up there against the trees, and he starts swimming around and gets really nervous, and then thud.
That is a beauty of a snook. I'm going to assist you big time.
One more time around. There he is.
There's your snook.
All right.
What a...
That was a big bait too. Nice one.
And I was like, here we go. We ended up catching a nice snook on him.
Key Largo is pretty rich in vintage movie history. For example, the African Queen, Humphrey Bogart, Katharine Hepburn. The African Queen, the original steamship used in that 1951 movie, is here, docked next to the Holiday Inn in Key Largo, and I had the opportunity for the first time to jump aboard it and take a cruise with Mike, who was actually operating it that particular day. As I'm going down the canals with the African Queen, I took control of it, and just watching that steam engine, and you know, it makes you just think, what was it really like back then to traverse waterways? If you're in the Key Largo area and you have some extra time and you're definitely a movie buff, this is the original African Queen used in the Humphrey Bogart movie, a piece of living history still here in Key Largo in the Upper Florida Keys.
So we pull up to this little shoreline that I like to fish. I like to fish it on the upper end of the tide.
That light pilcher would land real tight and you'd free line it. And then you feel the panic set in instantly because you knew something big was about to eat it.
There we are.
Here it comes, out coming.
That might be one of the ones we were looking for today. There's a little redfish.
You got a redfish?
Redfish.
Telling you what, you're racking up the species for sure.
He was way underneath
In there,
those
too.
trees.
And there you have it. Get your redfish. Just another one to the numbers.
Nice.
I caught a redfish, he caught two. I don't know who did what. But we got 3 or 4 redfish off this one point. Again, it's about 1:32 in the afternoon. We did what we set forth to do. I said, you know what? Let's get the shallow water mark back to sundowners. Let's top off with fuel. Let me get the dock lines. So Chris, help me get the boat on the trailer. And again, we were back in probably 3:30 with everything all completely done. How about that? Then when you add the species that we caught, it brought our tally up to 20 different species. which is pretty cool to think of that kind of variety that you come out here in the Florida Keys and get on and get on pretty good too. A lot of fast action. This was my second trip or show that I've done with Chris Hanson, and I could tell you the guy knows his stuff when it comes to the shallow water fishing around here.
It was great to be able to do another show with George. I feel, like I said, extremely privileged, and you know, I actually got to take him out on the ocean side. I know George loves to fish the ocean side, and then we got to go fish the bay side, which I enjoy doing a lot.
We had a great 2 days, and again, the Florida Keys, the fabulous Florida Keys, certainly lived up to its reputation.
If you'd like to keep up with our fishing adventures, please follow me on Instagram. I'm at George Poveromo. On Facebook, I'm at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. And you can view our episodes at any time on our YouTube channel, George Poveromo TV. We'll see you out on the water.